Hi, folks. Welcome to another edition of Real Lads Football Banter. I'm joined by, he's an expert. You're a football expert, Brendan McGirr. And it's been proved this week because his forecasts have been absolutely spot on, haven't they, Brendan?
Well, I'm having a good roll of the dice at the minute, Liam, with the old results. I'm genuinely. I said if I'd have put a bet on, none of that would have happened. But it's because I haven't bet on any of it. It's all come in.
So just remind our mates out there, what did you predict last week?
I predicted a nil-nil or a draw with Man United and Liverpool. I said Man United might even nick it, and I think they could have at the end of that game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they had a
um,
big chance where the guys at Highland, whatever, shot straight at the goalkeeper, didn't they?
it's right. Yeah, yeah. So it's like this season that Premier League is so unpredictable, and it's not as obvious as you think. I mean, Palace actually pegged Man City back, didn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I love about the look that you've got today, Brendan? You've got the festive Christmas look, but with the guns in the background. It's a lovely message.
It's the pheasant shoot on Christmas Boxing Day. You know what I mean? The old pheasant shoot. I'll have beaters out. There's beaters out in Plumstead.
Did Dave ever find that peacock? Did it ever come back?
The peacock was found and it went to a sanctuary. So Dave paid for it to go into a sanctuary.
Oh, fantastic. So let's get back to this match. Man United, Liverpool. I predicted, folks, at least a 5-0 or a 7-0 defeat. So, I mean, why did you think that they could get a point? I mean, there was nothing that indicated that they could do anything like that.
I just think if you looked at their last two results, they were really poor.
Mhm.
And if you're going at Liverpool, Man United is a massive game for the fans. That's really
Mhm.
Man United class them probably as their real rivals over Man City. Really, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
The history they've got together, and I just think going to Anfield with that and the manager knowing his job's on the line, he'd have been happy to come out with a nil-nil draw. That would have been perfect for him. So I think it was a matter of going there, play defensive, maybe hit them on the break, but come away with a point. Just don't lose. I think that was their attitude going there, and it worked for them really.
Yeah, what did you think about Van Dijk criticising Man United? He was sort of saying that Liverpool were the only team playing, and United just came for a point. And was it valid?
Well, listen, he might see it like that, but if Liverpool had been good enough, they would have scored, wouldn't they? It's easy. Like, of course, they've come. Man United probably did come to get a point. They was happy with that, but that's down to Liverpool to break them down, isn't it? So you can say that as the home team that's frustrated, but on the day Liverpool just didn't weren't good enough to put the ball in the net.
Yeah, and now of course I'm stuck with the manager. The manager's going to survive, isn't he? I've got him for
He's
years now.
he's hanging on. He's hanging on. So, well, I mean, if they do any business in January, it's an intent. It's a statement. The manager's going to stay in it. Really.
Yeah, I mean they have said that they're not going to do any business other than that they're going to try and get rid of players like Sancho and possibly Casemiro and other players like that. I think they tried to sell a few of them, like Anthony Martial, to Saudi. But who's going to buy Anthony Martial?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there'll be people interested in him. But it's Man United as a whole, as a club now, Liam, is looking a little bit dilapidated, doesn't it? The stadium looks a little bit run down. It was a terrific stadium at one point, but it obviously needs a bit of renovating. You look at clubs like Liverpool now, and I know Everton are getting a points deduction, but the stadiums that they're
Mhm.
coming up with now, Man United's been left behind a little bit, isn't it?
Arsenal still doing good. Beat Brighton. That was another tip of yours.
Well, I just think that it's all going Arsenal's way in a strange way this season, and I've said it from the start of the season. I don't know why. I just had a feeling it could be Arsenal's season. I think they were close last year, a couple of good signings this year, and as I say, Arteta knows the Man City manager better than anyone. Do you know what I mean? So he knows what he's got to do to win that league,
Mhm.
and I just think it could be their year. They're having a bit of luck because it's so tight the league, isn't it? Everyone's dropping points.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Man City, another prediction that you made that it was going to be a tough game and there wasn't a home banker and it was a 2-2 draw.
That's what I mean. Roy Hodgson at Palace, he's not a bad manager. He's ideal. Crystal Palace would be happy to be around the mid-table in the Premier League, as anyone really would be, unless you are a big club. I mean, if you're in around that middle of the Premier League, that's good going in today's football, you know.
Yeah, and what about Villa? Villa are still up there, and their next game's Sheffield United. I mean, they're making a statement, aren't they?
They are definitely going to be. It looks like they're going to be up around the top 3 or 4, doesn't it, for the rest of the season? I mean, the two surprise clubs, or 3 clubs really, this season aren't performing is Newcastle, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Newcastle, Tottenham, and
Yeah,
Chelsea. Really, they're Tottenham and Newcastle. I think are very similar. Like Tottenham are the Newcastle of the South, aren't they? Massive support,
yeah.
great stadium, but never win.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So West Ham are up against Man United. Liverpool is the big match against Arsenal. Now I'm going to push you on this one. You are the major prediction man. This is it. You know who's going to go for Liverpool and Arsenal?
Well, I think that could end up a draw. I think both of them would be happy with a draw. If anyone's going to edge it, I'd have to say Arsenal, but I think it could end in a draw. And I'm tipping Man United to beat Man U West Ham to beat Man United this weekend.
You
I
think
think West Ham are at home. They're on a good run, and I just think they'll be too strong for Man United.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And many years ago, every time I used to live down in Brighton, I was a Man United fan. No Man United fan lives in Manchester, and I always used to go up to West Ham and watch Man United at West Ham, and they always had a bad time. They always used to lose. So yeah, I'm thinking West Ham are going to win that one. Right now, moving on. What do you think about BBC Sports Personality of the Year? Very exciting. Mary Earps won it. Were you thrilled by the result? Did you watch it?
I don't watch it, and I don't know who Mary Earps is really, to be honest. So I'm a little bit out of the loop here. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I just don't watch. To be honest, the sports personality this year, it's like Football Focus. The BBC's the way they're doing things at the minute. The working class people that are into sport are getting a bit what's the word? Lost with it, really. Yeah, I mean, I know it's some new policy that they've got to have, but I just think the reality is the reason people are turning away in the hundreds of thousands from it is it's just not really about real sports people anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's about, or what do we think should look best?
Mm-hmm.
What can we say that looks good? Do you know what I mean? It's not really about the real talented, hardworking players and sports people that it used to be about, you know?
Yeah, and this is the second woman footballer that's won it in a row. Beth Mead won it before, and Joey Barton's been back on the case, and he's saying, you got people like Ronnie O'Sullivan who could have won it, Frankie Dettori, all of these people. So what? Why is it? What's going on with the whole thing?
Well, like I say, I just think it's this BBC policy of being woke, if that's what you want to call it. But in fairness, how many of the people that watch sports would watch Mary Earp every week to actually decide that she is a sportswoman of the year? How many in reality watch that woman play? I think, is she a footballer? Is she an England goalkeeper or something?
Yeah, I mean, she's done some good saves and stuff like that, and she's a good goalkeeper. I'm not knocking her for that, but it's like there are, as Joe Barton said, and also Piers Morgan weighed into it and said, is it the fact is that they won absolutely nothing, and it breeds a sort of culture of losers, a culture of snowflakes. She hasn't won anything.
Well, I mean, if you went to any of these other countries like Germany or Italy or France, do you think they would choose a woman footballer as the sports personality of the year in their countries? Mm-hmm. In reality,
no.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's a policy thing with the head to the BBC and these people to try and push this new thing of let's promote. Listen, I'm not knocking women footballers. Like, they are, it's their sport. They want to enjoy it, but the mainstream people don't watch it, I'm afraid. The mainstream, however you want to, dress it up and talk about it you want, but mainstream men and the working class culture of this country aren't going to women's football every week.
No, that is very, very true. And now, did you see that? I mean, obviously, I don't think any of us watched it. It used to have big views, the sports personality, but Kenny Dalglish got the Lifetime Achievement Award. So that, I think, is probably well deserved. I mean, he was fantastic, wasn't he?
Definitely. I mean, someone like Kenny Dalglish has been a great ambassador for football and a sportsman, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? So well done, Ken. You're fully deserving of that.
Yeah, and that whole thing with the whole Hillsborough thing, he was magnificent through all of that. A class act, I thought.
Definitely, he supported the people of Liverpool, and his heart was in Liverpool, wasn't it? It still is, really. You'll see him at all the games, and he's a proper icon and legend of that club, and rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I was surprised, and I did actually watch the speech, is that he never mentioned Celtic, which I thought was a bit of a surprise. And I wonder if the Celtic fans were a bit surprised at that.
Well, once again, maybe that's a political thing at the moment, whether he's, his advisors, or maybe it could be that he's got old and forgot that he played for him.
So also, Question of Sport is being axed. What did you think about that? I mean, they've gone woke again, and it's just finished. It's been going 50 years.
Well, I just think that the BBC Sports thing, if you look at it now, the way it's going, they're going to fall out. They're going to lose a lot of viewers. Viewing ratings are going to drop because they forgot what their audience was. Do you know what I mean? I know it's nice to let's have a couple of ladies here and ladies there presenting everything, but the reality is, like, Football Focus and Question of Sport used to have a couple of male captains, and it was more banter. It now it's not. I haven't watched it for years, to be honest. The last time I watched it was Ali McCoist would have been presenting it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I go back to the days of Emlyn Hughes.
Emlyn Hughes was great on it, wasn't he? He was great on it,
Yeah.
Emlyn Hughes. He thought Princess Anne was a jockey, didn't he?
So, yeah, and they got rid of Sue Barker, and it was kind of like one of those family shows that everybody sat down and watched and stuff. And as soon as, like I say, go woke, go broke, and that's gone. And they say, as I say, Football Focus is about to go the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it, Football Focus, when I was growing up, Football Focus and On the Ball were two of the biggest football magazines going. And even now, like, Sky have got rid of Soccer Saturday. So it shows you that because they're all changing their presenting styles or doing something different, I still think if you went back to having 2 or 3 real football men talking about football and reviewing it, and just give it a 6-month run and see what the figures done, I think it'd all be back on course again. That's how simple it is. It's so naive and stupid that the working class people of this country that watch football don't want to sit and watch these ladies talking about football that they can't relate to. I'm not being disrespectful, but they're not Premier League stars of the past. Do you know what I mean? They've played football in their own right, but it's not mainstream.
No, and you can't beat old Saint and Greavesy, who were fantastic and all that. And you'd start off by watching Football Focus and then switch over to Saint and Greavesy. Great entertainment, and even, over the years, they've had some, they had Bob Wilson doing it and, stuff like that. So, it was very entertaining. Yeah, it's finished.
It was entertaining, and they were allowed to have a bit of banter, and there was humour in it. But I think we've lost all that, this culture of the woke thing now. Although we're meant to live in free speech, everyone's speech has been sort of channeled down to one sort of focal point now, and you can't say this, can't say that. You might offend someone saying that. So I think the result of that is you are going to get people turning away and just not looking at it.
Absolutely. Other news that Nottingham Forest have sacked their manager, and they've got Nuno Espirito Santo has taken over. So, what do you think about Forest? They've spent 280 million on 44 new players. And they're near the bottom. What's the chances for them?
I still think Forest could survive this season. Do you know what I mean? I think if you look at the clubs that come up, the Sheffield United, the Luton and the Burnley, I still think, and Everton, obviously, Everton will be favourites to go. If that points deduction stands, you can more or less say Everton are down. So there's only 2 clubs. So there's a very good chance Forest will survive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so Newcastle are out of the Carabao. I think there was a fan raced onto the pitch and confronted the Newcastle goalkeeper. Is there ever an excuse for the fans running on the pitch and having a dig?
In reality, there's not, is there? Do you know what I mean? Look, we all like a bit of banter. We like football, and it can be passionate. But there's no. If you once you start doing that, you're ruining the game for everyone else, and for you're just going to bring laws in that they want to put on us. Do you know what I mean? So it's just stupid idiots like that. I've got no time for it. Brian Clough was the right man. He'd go around and smack man.
Do you remember that scene where he's punching everybody coming on the pitch? I mean,
And the geezer come and said sorry, didn't he? And he apologised to him, didn't he, afterwards?
imagine you doing that now. I mean,
But I'm afraid that could be one of the reasons why we're in so much trouble. There's no common sense. There's no strength in people anymore. Everything's watered down to be polite and be, like, oh, don't say that, don't do that.
yeah.
Someone should have just grabbed that geezer and threw him off the pitch last night. And if he got a smack in the ear, he deserved it for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now we're almost running out of time. Tell us what was your favourite goal ever? A bit of trivia here. Have you got a favourite goal that you always look back and think sums up everything you like about football?
Oh, there's some terrific goals over the years, isn't there, Liam? I mean, my best goal I think I ever see at Charlton.
Yeah.
I've watched them all my life. I'd have to say was Robin van Persie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was playing for Arsenal at the time, and he come across and hit a volley, a cross come in, and he just hit it on the volley, and it just, a really, really good goal. I know he's an Arsenal player, but it was one of the best goals I've ever seen at Charlton. Do you know what I mean? If you look back to the World Cup in 1970, the Italian goal with all the passes,
yes,
is a famous goal, isn't it? In the with
Brazil. You got the
Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah,
1970 final. I mean, you really there's got to be like 200 or 300 world class goals in the World Cups and football. To narrow it down to one, Liam, is very hard.
I think my favourite, without a doubt, was way back in the 70s, Man United against Chelsea. George Best picking up the ball, and it was like, the rain was pissing down. It was like the muddiest pitch you've ever seen. Ron Harris tries to take him out, scythes through him to try and knock him out off the ball. He gets round him, gets round the goalkeeper, knocks it in the net, goes down on his knees up to the Stretford end and all that. It's fantastic. To me, summed up football in the sort of 60s and 70s,
In that era, yeah. I mean, like, you can imagine, really, he was doing what Maradona done against England, but on a good pitch.
Yeah.
He was doing it on a piece of mud. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So you out to see Charlton? Have they got any games over Christmas?
Wait, I'm going to the Burton game on Saturday, and then I'm going Leyton Orient away on Boxing Day, and I should be having a nice corporate day for the Oxford game at Charlton. I've booked that for New Year's Day on the 1st. So they're the three games. I know we've got Bristol Rovers away, but I won't be going to that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, folks. We're going to be back probably before Christmas, and we're going to be wishing you all happy Christmas and everything else like that. So from me, Brendan McGirr, the top tipster, the top football expert, it's goodbye, and we'll see you very soon next week.
See you soon. Thank you.